All right, if you're a contractor in Missouri, you already know the headache. You're all set to get to work, but first, you have to figure out the super confusing world of licensing. So today, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know to get licensed and on the job, no matter where you are in the Show Me state.
It's always the first question every single contractor asks, right? What license do I actually need to work here? And, in Missouri, that very simple question has a surprisingly complicated answer.
And here it is. This is the source of all the confusion. As you can see, there is no single one-size-fits-all statewide contractor license. Instead, every single requirement is set at the local level, and that means the rules can change completely just by crossing a county or even a city line.
So how big is this problem really? Well, it starts with this number, 115. That's how many counties Missouri has. And yeah, each one could have its own separate set of rules.
And it's not just the counties. Oh no. Within those counties, you've got hundreds of different cities and towns, and every single one of them can, and they often do, set their own unique rules for contractor licensing, for bonding, for permits. It's a true patchwork system.
Let's look at a real-world example of how this plays out, because it can get kind of wild. We'll start with the classic tale of two cities that are literally right next to each other, St. Louis City and St. Louis County. For a contractor, though, they might as well be in different states. Just look at the difference here. In St. Louis City, an electrician needs a $25,000 bond that's issued by the building division. But if you drive just a few minutes away into St. Louis County, all of a sudden, you need a $10,000 bond from a completely different office, the Department of Public Works. It's the same job, but totally different requirements.
And this isn't just the St. Louis issue. This same pattern repeats itself all across the entire state. From the plains out west to the Ozarks down south, it is a patchwork of local rules.
This table really shows just how varied the rules are. A plumber in Kansas City needs a $10,000 bond. Okay, head down to Springfield, and it's the same amount, but it covers a bunch of different trades. Then you go to a smaller town like Thayer, and the requirement drops to just $1,000. It's all over the map. Okay, so let's zoom in on one of these to see what a contractor actually has to deal with. We'll use Kansas City as our example here.
So if you're a plumber in Kansas City, here's what your to-do list looks like. You start with that $10,000 surety bond. And that bond we keep mentioning, just think of it like an insurance policy for your clients and for the city. It's a guarantee you'll do the work according to the local code. Then you have to prove you have a $1 million general liability policy. After that, you pay a $55 application fee plus a $167 license fee. And all of this is for a license that you have to renew every 4 years. That is a lot to manage for just one location.
Okay, I know it sounds complicated, but there is a clear path through it all. We've broken it down into a simple 4-step process that'll work for you no matter what city or county you're in. Here's the playbook. Step 1, pinpoint every single city and county you plan to work in. Step 2, get the exact surety bonds required for each of those places. Step 3, submit your application and your bond to the correct local office and make sure you know if that's the building division or the city clerk. And finally, once you get that approval, you can pull your permits and get to work. It's a methodical process that really cuts through all the confusion.
All right, so this all leads to the most practical question of all, right? We know you need these bonds, but what are they actually going to cost you? Let's talk about the bottom line.
So, let's talk numbers. What's the actual annual cost for one of these surety bonds going to be?
Here's a pretty good estimate, and this is assuming you have good credit. That $25,000 bond for St. Louis City, it might cost you somewhere between $250 and $1,250 a year. The more common $10,000 bonds, like the ones in Kansas City or Springfield, are typically in the range of $100 to $500 annually. So remember, it's not the bond amount you pay, but just a small percentage of it.
So after all of this, what's the one thing you absolutely must remember? It's this. Before you bid on a job, before you buy materials, and before you start any work, always check the local municipal rules first. It will save you time, money, and a whole world of frustration.
So once you know which bond you need, the next step is to get it. If you need a quote for your specific Missouri contractor bond, you can get one really quickly online at the site you see on your screen. That wraps up our little tour of Missouri's licensing maze. Stay sharp and always check those local rules.